Hello people and welcome to another Carcassonne analysis video. This time we will be taking a look at a casual game I had against Pere Vives, a highly, should I say, dangerous Catalonian player with the screen name Bamboli. Pere is one of the many people behind several Carcassonne related projects, most notably Abstract Zone and WTCOC, or the World Team Carcassonne Online Championships. So a highly respected member of the community. But for the sake of this video, the most important thing is that Pere knows how to play the game. Pere, being the starting player, takes the first road and points it upwards, as is the custom, and you will soon see why that is important. We managed to take 4 points, and this is why it is important to point the road upwards if you are the first player and you have a regular curve in hand. So now, as you can see, I had a road plus city cap tile in my hand, and now this road is going to indirectly continue my opponent's road, adding extra points to it completely for free. And this is of course what Pere does. We start another city in a spot that allows us to create a platform to harass our opponent's road. So maybe later on we can grab a straight road, go over here, attack the road, or maybe we take a triple city, go over here, and then force our opponent to find a city plus road tile to finish or to continue this road instead of just him being able to use 2 empty curves. Pere lays down more city caps, and now a field is growing. Already 3 city caps on it, and by the looks of it, this field is going to be rather lucrative, as almost every single city tile that gets added at this point to the map is going to be on that field. Here we could of course play it super safe and just finish our city, but that would be quite horrible use for this tile because it would not be all that effective. We would lose our only open city, which we will definitely want to have because we want to be able to use all types of city tiles, or at least as many types of city tiles effectively as we can. And if we don't have open cities at the beginning of the game, then usually we will also not have that many great spots to use city tiles. So instead, we are going to use this tile as a crossroad, and we are going to attack our opponent's road, which is only 2 curves away from being finished. And so this will allow us to have potential great uses for curves. Now, although this move does leave an empty city cap lying around, it is not such a huge threat because there was already another empty city cap available. And more importantly, both of these city caps need the same types of city caps to finish. So a city cap with a field on the left side. And because there are now 2 empty city caps which are both unmeepled, chances are that we both get one of them. Blue now correctly meeples the field, And even though the field at the moment is worth 0 points, because it has 4 city caps, it is super unlikely that this field would not be worth a farmer at any stage of the game. And furthermore, with this move, blue creates a platform to limit this square to a crossroad. However, I think blue is doing this move from the wrong direction. I think blue should go over here, because by going on the left, they create a potential 3-point road, which I can now use to make use out of a crossroad or from another road end. Whereas if blue goes over here, then I would only be able to take a 2-point road. And when I would take a 2-point road, it would then create a secondary platform to restrict this square. So even though this is not a huge mistake, I do think that this move gives out a potential extra point to me unnecessarily. And often tight games are depending on who gets that 1 or 2 extra points. Fortunately, we do get the curve straight away and connect the roads. Blue takes the only road possible on the map, and we start another city because it is important to have multiple cities open at the beginning of the game. Blue continues his city on the right, and even though he could have actually just started another city completely on the left, at the same time continuing his road, this one also has merits, because there is the possibility that blue draws the quad city on his next move and places it over here. Then they draw a triangle or a triple city and block this city immediately, and maybe even connect these meeples together, and then I would have 2 meeples stuck in a ruin, which might not potentially be even too big. And that would be like huge for blue. But that is a very distant idea, should I say. The chances of that happening is quite low. We are able to close down our 6-point city and start a new one, but perhaps a better move would have been to close down this 4-point city instead, because now there is a very nasty possibility of Pere going over here with like a straight road or any road tile, and then place a triple city or a triangle over here and direct this city downwards to be completely blocked, unless we would be able to, of course, find a divider. But then in case that happens, this city would be essentially frozen because we would not be able to complete this without risking this square getting blocked completely. Blue decides to start securing the fields, a rather good move if you ask me, since the fields are indeed going to be very lucrative with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 cities and more incoming because there is a lot of green space to build on. And this move also denies me from dropping a 6 or a 9-point farmer whenever I complete this city. We don't have really anything to do with a curve, so we decide to harass the city of blue. And why we turn it this way is because I don't want my opponent to be able to use both city caps with a road and city caps with a field to create more cities to his field. So because of this empty city cap, blue was already able to use city caps with field, and so had I turned this curve like this, then blue would also be able to use city caps with road to immediately get more cities on his field. So now that blue was not able to use a city cap with a road to complete a city on his field, they instead decide to just equalize my city at the top, which is a decent move, I guess. We'll be able to take 4 points. Blue finishes their 6-point city. And we also get to finish our city, and we are able to do it with the best possible tile actually, because we are going to be able to start a new city immediately, and we are now threatening to overrun this small feature. Also, now as you can see, the fields are looking already quite menacing, with 12 points on the southern field and 6 points already on the other field. First monastery of the game goes to blue, and he is able to get a rather fantastic spot. We are immediately provided a triple city and are able to continue with our invasion plans. This does of course require urgent attention from blue, and he does exactly that, but I think with 2 meeples in his hand, maybe a possible better placement was over here, because I don't think he wants me to attack the fields at any point, and to ensure that I would not attack the fields, he might as well try and actually block these 2 meeples alongside with this 1 meeple, of course. So if he goes here with the extender and of course does not meeple this, then finds a triangle, then that is all that is needed to make sure that this city never sees the day of completion. We continue to get the triple cities, and we make the connection and are now only 1 city cap away from completing a 12-point city. Blue obviously doesn't like that idea, so they are now starting to not attack the city, but to try and hinder the possibilities of completion, or at least delay the completion. With 5 meeples in hand, we are definitely, of course, always going to meeple this monastery, And now with two 8-point road monastery spots here and here, blue should only really be pondering which one to take. But I was truly surprised of the move that he decided to make, because he decided not to take either. What he decided was to just take a meeple back. And I think I might see the idea of why blue wanted to get a second meeple as soon as possible into his hand. I think the idea is that uh, blue wants to get a road plus city tile so that they can go over here and attack this city without going into a zero meeple situation. I don't think that is the correct decision, but I do see the possible benefits. Now, whilst there are still two dividers left in the deck, and we could wait for those, I did not want blue to get a road plus city tile, go over here and attack the city, which is why I decided to just connect my city to the triangle. And now, although the city is more vulnerable to attacks and blocks, it is still worth 8 points for one extra meeple, which is not that bad. So even if it were to get blocked, I don't think it would be that bad. And in case we manage to complete it, well, that's always great. We just managed to basically get 6 more points on it. Understandably, blue tries to hinder the chances of completion without a meeple, of course, because even though all 3 triple cities with a road are still remaining here, this square is now super vulnerable to attacks with any road tile or field plus field tile. Like, this square is just super easy to block now. And of course, it does require immediate attention. Unfortunately, we do get the more or less perfect tile to do that. We are able to save the connection. The only question now is which city cap do we meeple? Because we absolutely need to use a third meeple on this city. If we meeple this part, we are going to have a guaranteed 3 triple city tiles to get this connection done. And if we meeple the right hand side city cap, we will have all the remaining triple cities, the quad city, and the triangles. So a lot more tiles, but there is a possibility that blue is going to block that connection with a few tiles. A road here, a curve over here, and another road and a curve. Like, it does require multiple tiles, but if they manage to block this, then blue would be able to place a second meeple on this part and equalize the city with one of the 3 remaining triple cities. So even though we would have a lot more tiles to make the connection with this meeple, I prefer to take the unblockable spot with an 87.5% chance. Yeah, 87.5% chance of getting one of the three remaining triple cities with a road. And otherwise, this castle is looking very, very much completable. With the addition of another triple city that blue uses to now extend the city even further, it is kind of looking like it's gonna remain as a ruin at most, but it is gonna be our ruin, which is why it doesn't hurt for us to add triangles and triple cities to it. And whilst we are adding these triangles and triple cities, we are at the same time threatening, still threatening the completion of the city. We might even get the second divider here. Who knows? Pere just adds calmly 1 point to his monastery. I think I would have done something different there. I think I would have still gone over here and take away that one divider from me to be able to go over here and threaten the completion of the city. Like just to be able to limit this square to a triple city with a road or to a road triangle, it will make sure that I'm gonna need multiple tiles to finish this city at all, if ever. Well, we still continue doing the same thing. We further threaten to finish that city at some point. And we are constantly adding more points to it. Of course, therefore increasing the damage that it would cause to blue if this city was ever finished, or even if we ever get the triple city with a road. Just by getting that one triple city here would grant us 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, maybe 8 points already. And of course, the massive threat of finishing the city. Blue gets a city cap, and his 8-point city is now 1 city cap away from being completed. We start another monastery. Unfortunately, we can't really stack this monastery with our previous one because this spot is not really all that juicy, because that would then allow 2 platforms here and here for blue to try and block this square and block 2 of our monasteries at the same time. Blue, unfortunately for him, is not able to take any quick points from anywhere with a crossroad, so only gets to add 1 point to the monastery. We, having 3 meeples invested in that city, we kinda have to go along with this plan and invest more and more tiles on it and try to actually finish it. Pere gets the first of the 3 triple cities with a road and takes 2 points. We are able to add 1 point to our own monastery, and we now create a 9-point road monastery spot, which would also connect the fields of blue and would therefore remove 6 additional points from him. So this would actually not be just a 9-point monastery. It also adds 1 point to this monastery, so it's a 10 points, and then takes 6 points away from blue from the field, so it would be a 16-point move for us, which is massive, of course. Blue still keeps creating more platforms to try and make the completion of the now humongous city really impossible. We add 1 point to our monastery. Potentially an even better spot could have been over here, creating another monastery spot for us, but at least now we still have another monastery spot already here, and in case we don't pull the road monastery, we can still have a chance at getting this monastery back at some point. Three quick points to Pere. And now again, I think I make a small mistake with the monastery building. Whilst we do get a great spot to use a curve here and kind of secure our left hand side monastery, only needing the road monastery to finish it, I think we should prioritize the monastery at the top and place the curve over here, and then we would only just need like really any other monastery over here, and we would be having a great situation with the top monastery or monasteries. Even more crossroads for blue, who fortunately also makes a mistake with the monastery building. I think a better spot would have been to take the 2 points over here and create a monastery spot, which would be completely unblockable. It could only be maybe limited to the road monastery and then create a 50-50 flip. We do get to use the curve like we intended with our last move. And blue just keeps scoring with the crossroads. We are not so fortunate. Ideally, with city caps, we would like to start new cities. And we could maybe consider going over here and start an 8-point city, or even going over here on this side so that we would not be able to be directed over here to the final dagger. But given that we have been building this humongous city for like half of the game, I think we really do need to secure it. And this is why I decided to use even the city cap to build this city and to further threaten the completion of it. So we go over here because there are still 2 city crossroads as well as 2 starting tiles. So we have 4 tiles to go over here and still 2 triple cities with a road. So there are 6 tiles that we can now use to this city, and we are still having great chances to finish this. Great chances. Unfortunately, just in the nick of time, we prevent our opponent from enlarging this project any further, as blue gets the quad city. Now they can't really do anything exactly with that, so they just dump it on the right. as of course they should. Or maybe they should even dump it at the bottom, because it creates a 3-point ruin, not a 4-point ruin, but that's a minor detail. We start a loop, because there are still plenty of curves and a few crossroads left in the deck. Blue makes one final effort to try and block the city, and we reduce the city completion down to the 2 city crossroads and the 2 triple cities with a road, from which one of the city crossroads immediately goes to the hand of our opponent, which I don't really like, but the good thing is that we still do have the one remaining city crossroad, so all is not lost yet. Blue does get their 8-point city finished, as well as 3 additional points to their field, and also gets the meeple back. We finish our loop. And blue calmly starts yet another city on their field. At this stage, it is good to make some point calculation to see who is actually ahead. So blue is +5 on the scoreboard. They have a 7-point monastery, so they are +12. They have a 12-point field in the south, so +24, +25 for the city, and +34 for this 9-point field at the top. Whilst we have an 8-point monastery, which puts us at -26, -20 with this monastery, and then we have 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9 points in this city. So we are at -3. We are at equal meeples, but the threats are, I think, definitely on my side, because of the 2 remaining triple cities with a road, and even the 1 city crossroad. But there also is the road monastery, which is in itself worth 16 points still. There are also additional monasteries for really both players. And I could even try and attack this field or the upper field, depends on really when the road monastery is drawn. So I think everything is still open at this stage of the game. I don't think we necessarily even need to finish the city. But if we do, we are definitely going to win this game. So since we only really need 1 meeple in our hand, because we need to have a meeple for the road monastery, I decide to start another city to have use for future city caps. And of course we pick the city that has the shield in it for possible extra points. Blue adds a road, which does make the completion of the city a little more unlikely, but there are still few city caps with a road, including the 2 starting tiles, so I'm not really worried about that city just yet. Now, since all the daggers with the left hand side are gone, here, here, and here, it is of course possible that the city gets blocked completely. But because of the starting tiles, I don't want to do anything over here. And the only thing I could really do is to place the divider like this, and that would leave us with the two remaining triple cities with a road, which we already need of course here, and the one remaining road triangle, which we could use to immediately finish the city. But again, because there are the starting tiles, I don't want to really take away those starting tiles from myself to possibly finish this city. So instead, we are going to create some more scoring opportunities, and we are going to just add 1 point to our monastery. And we are not going to meeple anything, but now we have pretty much every city cap that is left in the deck that we are going to be able to use to score points over here or over here or over here. Blue gets the final remaining road triangle and now restricts our bottom city to the two remaining triple cities with a road, which is very beneficial for him because, of course, 100 times out of 100 times, I'm first and foremost going to be using the triple cities here as a primary use. We can't really do all that much with the field triangle that we have in our hand. Maybe we could just potentially add a point over here, like in case we get both of the remaining triple cities with a road. But I think there is a better use, and that use is to block our opponent's great monastery spot. And even though this does not block the monastery completely, I think just blocking the monastery spot next to his previous monastery is about the best use of this tile that we can make. With only 11 tiles remaining and 2 meeples in his hand, Pere is undoubtedly not too eager to try and save his monastery by going over here and taking another city, but instead he's going to just take guaranteed points by finishing his 4-point city on the left and increasing the size of the field even further. We get 2 points and get to make a full block on the monastery, but I think this is a mistake. I think this is a mistake because with 3 meeples in the hand of blue and with 9 tiles only remaining in the deck, it really doesn't matter that his monastery gets stuck to 8 points. It really doesn't matter. He doesn't care. He shouldn't care at all. I think a far better move would have actually been to take 3 points over here. In case we draw the city crossroad, we would be able to place it over here and take 3 further points. Blue with 3 meeples in his hand gets the second triple city with a road and just takes a 6-point ruin as he should. We get 4 points for the city. And unfortunately for us, blue gets even the third and final triple city with a road. which means that our castle building throughout the game has very little value. With 7 tiles still to come, blue does not need to use his meeple immediately on this turn, and instead takes 2 points to the ruin. We get to add 1 more point to our monastery, and maybe we should have even dropped a farmer, but because the road monastery is still there in the deck, I decided to keep the meeple in my hand, which unfortunately results in blue getting the 6-point field, and he does that with a city cap also, so there is possibly even more added value to that 6-point farmer. And as a result of all those juicy farmers and not getting the triple city with a road, we are at now minus 21 points. But we do get the road monastery, which, like I said earlier, is worth 16 points. And of course, we do have to take that opportunity now, because with minus 21, there is no use in using our final meeple to attack the southern field, because we would not simply be getting enough points in any scenario to beat blue with that strategy. So we make a 16-point move, and connect the fields. And we are now at minus 5. Blue gets to make a 7-point move. And because we know that the city crossroad is still in the deck, and we can't afford blue having it, I decided to try and get the maximum value out of putting my faith in getting that city crossroad myself, and we are going to try and attack the 9-point field at the top by placing a farmer and trying to, on my final move, finish the monastery and get 4 additional points from that city. However, this was not the maximum points that I was going to be able to get had I gotten that city crossroad, because this move is essentially going to be 9 points plus 10 points plus 4, 14 points. Whereas if we truly are relying on actually getting the city crossroad, we should be going over here first with the curve and take the 7-point road, and then go over here and take an 11-point ruin, which is 7 plus 11, so 18 points instead of 14 points. So already with this move, we are actually going to be losing value in the end, whatever tile we get as the final tile. Because if we don't get the city crossroad, then we might have as well taken a 7-point road, which is more than a 3-point field. And if we do get the city crossroad, then, well, I did just explain it, we could have gotten more points. So this was definitely a mistake. However, we don't get that city crossroad, and our opponent, of course, takes the 11-point ruin, one which we basically built almost entirely. We used 1 tile 2 tiles, 3 tiles, 4 tiles, 5 tiles of this 8 tile ruin. We put 5 tiles to it. And this is like a primary example of what happens if you just don't hit any of your tiles. You are almost forced to really lose because you have spent half of your moves in the game building something that you can't even manage to take in the end, and which goes to your opponent. So essentially, we have just given our opponent 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 points, 7 points throughout 5 separate moves, which our opponent took. Like, it can't really go worse than that. But this is fortunately a very rare occasion. Fortunately, a very rare occasion, but it still stings very much. As our final move, we get the final remaining monastery, and we get 6 points. And the final tile being the dagger, blue calmly adds 1 point to their ruin. And now that the points have been counted, you can really see the devastation that is caused when you build technically your opponent's features. Of course, this is 1 out of 8 games, like statistically speaking, with 87.5% chance of getting one of the 3 triple cities with a road, but still not impossible, as you can see, to not get any of them. 1 in 8 games, you never get them. And having 3 meeples stuck in a ruin, only giving us 9 points in the end, it's not very good. And the result is according to that. I hope you enjoyed this analysis. Do let me know in the comments if you did, and do give a like on the video. And I will see you soon with some more Carcassonne content. Bye for now.